Hey everybody, and welcome to the 5th episode of the LODcast. Today we're joined by American Scribe, Koocai, HBProductions, and Biggie15. Today we're going to be talking about some YouTube news, a bit of lore from the games, and then we'll move on to whatever we want to talk about. And after that, we'll do some questions from the community. So without further ado, how was everyone's week?
Alright, I'll make this quick. I'm doing great. I'm dealing with my dog who is barking half on, half off right now, so I might be in and out with conversations because she's just going crazy now. It's only when I record shit. It's swear to God, I put on the record, I hit record, my dog's like, gotta bark now, let's go. And it's...
Yeah, my week was, so I just finished finals, right? 90% sure I only really passed one. The curve is gonna push me up to passing, right? Because in my major,
50 states.
So like in my major, the minimum for passing is a D- because it's the most difficult major at the college, right? So I'm just hoping that I pass. But we'll jump over to Mr. American Scribe. How was your week?
I worked all week. That's what I did. 10 hours a day. Again, like always. Watched Game of Thrones, of course, on Sunday.
Ass.
Yeah. Don't get me
it was
started.
Actual ass.
I was so mad about the whole Daenerys thing. It made absolutely no sense. What else happened? Made one of them 3D Iconics puzzles with the metal sheets.
Ooh.
I made a Humvee. That's pretty much my week.
How about you, Koo?
I got a collab coming up here soon for people who watch on my channel. We're gonna do 2 different lore videos, and we're gonna show up in each other's videos, so you can look forward to that.
Speaking of which, we have a collab coming up with Big E over here. Don't know when, because our schedules are spontaneous as all hell.
God, yeah. Fucking, I'm finally moved back home, so there's that. I can.
So how about you, Mr. Talkman? Don't worry, yours isn't important. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next section.
Oh, okay. Well, for your kind information, I took up a new hobby. I go outside and I yell at trees.
Those damn trees. Look at them in their photosynthesis.
But in all honesty, I haven't really done much this week. I painted a few minis and painted a few minis and polished a sword. That's about it.
What?
Yeah.
Okay then, on to the next topic.
Yep. Well,
okay, so for this next topic, the Koocai insisted we do this. I am not a fan of it.
Well, okay, since I did bring up this topic, now that we're in the YouTube section, everyone kind of knows this. It's been all over YouTube this past week.
Hate you.
There's this guy named James Charles who's like a makeup YouTuber. I haven't seen any of his videos in my life.
Who the fuck is this James Charles guy? He sounds like a twink.
He definitely is. But
he's getting some shit. Of course, he's a twink.
I don't know either one of these people. That's
basically, but okay. In general, just to sum it up, he basically advertised a brand that was by a friend. The friend didn't like it. The friend made an exposed video on him, and now he lost a bunch of subs. And it's really petty both ways because it was over a single ad.
See, what my girlfriend told me was that she asked him to do a shout out, and he said no, and then got offered a ridiculous amount of money to do this other, like, the competitions, like, brand, and he did, and person he was doing it to got all pissy and did the exposed video on it, and I don't know.
From what I know, he's been kind of problematic as a person for the last, like, forever.
Yeah, no, this is nothing new.
The biggest
terrible human beings are terrible.
The biggest crux of why everybody's unsubscribing is because he's been very vocal since he started his career as a quote-unquote model, of him wanting to... He preys on straight guys and makes them feel like they owe him, so they sexually gratify him and crap.
Jack Kuyo, he's coming.
So basically, what's been going on is Tati, even though like she's known this for years, she's just called him out on it now because, as Kuyo and Biggie just stated, the brand deal thing pissed her off, and that's why people have just been leaving his channel in droves.
Yeah, he's the first YouTube channel ever to lose 2 million subs in a day.
We need to get an iDubbbz content cop on it. That'd be fantastic.
Yes.
Chant chap. Yeah, so anyone else have anything to say about this little bit of drama?
No, it's like already a week old.
So Pro Jared then. You guys know this guy.
I don't.
So basically, he used to be a part of Normal Boots, which is this brand that owns people like Game Grumps, JonTron, a bunch of other retro YouTubers from the past.
They own people?
Well, no, they own the brands. But in general, he got caught cheating on his wife, and then he got caught sending these really, like, nutty nudes to underage fans.
Nutty.
No, they really are crazy. Like,
nutty.
Like, I haven't seen any of them, but like from like, if you like listen to other podcasts and other YouTubers, like, he would do weird ass shit, like dress up in costumes.
Oh, his wife was the one who outed him too.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, was it like cosplay costumes, or was it like... Okay, then.
I think the biggest tragedy of this whole situation is the girl that he cheated with on his wife. You know what I mean? The girl that he
cheated on his wife with.
Yes. Looks like a dude, but his wife is actually kind of really pretty.
Yeah, they both traded down.
Okay, then.
Well, cheating is not a healthy thing to do. It's not good for a relationship, so I can't recommend it.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah, so now that we got the drama out of the way, we can move on to the more interesting stuff that we can probably talk about more. Microsoft and Sony announced that they were working together recently. And it was on cloud gaming.
Well,
what is this heresy?
Well, we remember what happened when Nintendo and Sony worked together, so... I don't see many good things coming out of this. Oh, that's how we got the PlayStation.
What? Really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Sony was working to make a CD drive for the N64, and Nintendo pulled out the last minute. And
Sony got pitsy and was like, all right, we'll make a console and make it better than yours. And then the PlayStation was made and blew the Nintendo out of the water.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a cool story. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so basically Sony already had the infrastructure for streaming, and Microsoft had their big server system called Azure. And so they're like, hey, how about, since both of our next consoles are going to involve streaming in some form, why don't we partner up? And basically the point of it was to combat Google Stadia. And it seems like it's good. Sure, they're not going to be best buds. There's still going to be a console war, but they're just trying to compete against Google Stadia.
Well, I think what's going to happen is they're going to do a test run on with it, with the supposed Nintendo Switch Pro coming out. I can see them trying it out on there first, since that they already do streaming on the Switch with Resident Evil 7 over in Japan, and it has shown very promising results. So I can see them trying out the Switch in the United States with that. And if they do that, well, I may actually throw Sony my money for once. I'm not a Sony fan, but that's just me.
I have both consoles, and I think what worries me the most about this is that I hate streaming games as a service. I am not a fan of it because the system itself is not. And so, I mean, I understand that you're working on it and they're working on it, but like, I brought this up probably a couple podcasts ago, how I was using PlayStation Now, and PlayStation Now is so rough. Like, there's so much lag. There's so much there was points where it was unplayable, and I had decent enough internet too, which is like the top of the line internet to run this thing, and that's the issues I have with it. I just think that I'm not a fan of streaming as a service.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. You still have to have the game downloaded on your console, I think, to actually make anything work.
We as gamers already had our games taken away from us when we started downloading, and they want to take that one step further to where we don't even own them anymore.
Ultimate DRM. And then
no, really. You only rent your games. The licenses and the EULAs you sign. Like, when was the last time we got a physical game? I think Xbox 360. The last game was like was when me and my brother like owned games, and that was almost 10 years ago at this point.
Oh no, I buy
I'm looking at my games right now. God, the last physical game might have been Uncharted 4.
Wow.
I think the last physical game I bought was Dishonored.
Yeah, it was Dishonored. The last physical game.
Yeah, that was the
we ever
last
had.
physical game I bought.
I literally
Nope,
just bought
incorrect.
a physical
I got Fallout 76. There you go.
game.
I put about 4 hours into it. Haven't played it since.
I just bought Ghost Recon, the new one. Pre-ordered it.
I think my biggest qualm with the whole digitizing games like that is Sony has a habit of putting unnecessary restrictions on what their consumers can, consume with their games. Like, for instance, the whole modding issue with PlayStation on Skyrim and Fallout 4. Like, if there's new assets, that mod's unavailable. That's something that worries me with Sony in particular is what kind of limitations are they going to put in place for you if you download a game off their streaming service?
I assume it's going to be the same thing. Like, oh, you can't play cross-platform if that's even going to be a thing. You probably won't be able to softcore mod if the developer does that. Like,
see, that's something that terrifies me about, especially Sony, because they have set a precedent for it. But I don't know if Microsoft's going to follow suit or not.
I don't
But the thing is, though, like, we don't know yet, and that's what's scary about the situation.
yeah, the thing about consoles is that they set a precedent for the PC market in specific, too. Like, Skyrim only looks the way it does because of the console limitations. All the games are always, like, made for console. Nothing's really made for PC. So even if we move on to what we consider a better platform, things will never really change for us unless it gets better for console. I think that a move towards cloud gaming might be a very good help with that because it unifies and kind of like makes everything kind of on an even platform at the cost of a lot of things. But
It might have its downs, but it'll have its ups too, I guess.
Yeah, like I'd rather we have like, because I think it was the CEO of Microsoft who said that not Microsoft, Xbox, who said that they wanted to, who said that the next generation we're going to have a Xbox with all the hardware and then we're just going to have a streaming Xbox. I think that would be ideal because that way people who can't really afford it can get the streaming one. They can also play, and then people who can't afford the hardware will get the hardware, and they'll obviously have better experience, and it'll be a win-win for everyone. Okay, Biggie, you want to move us on?
Sure. So I seen a video recently of BioWare being 100% committed to Anthem, and I looked up a little bit more. And despite all the controversy and them moving towards a majority of their team, Dragon Age 4, they're Anthem. They're not giving up on Anthem. It's still a game they're gonna keep working on. I just want to know what you guys thought about that whole situation.
I think it's going to be just like with Fallout 76, but with a lesser degree to how much they want to support it. So, like, in the case of Fallout 76, Pete Hines stated that as long as people play, which is obviously a lie, they're going to keep supporting the game. It's most likely however long they keep making a profit, they're going to keep supporting the game. And so I think with Anthem, they're going to do what EA has done for a while now with like games they plan on keeping alive for a while, which is just keep producing small bits of content, like drip feed people the content until you eventually can't make a profit from it and you can't afford it, and then just abruptly shut it down after a few months.
There is one thing I will credit, and I doubt it's actually EA. I'm going to guess it's mostly the developers that are doing it. Like, the developers do try their hardest to maintain a game. Because I know for a fact with, speaking of games that we're recently playing, I was playing Battlefront 2 yesterday. That game is actually tremendously fun, and I feel very bad for what happened to it, but at the same time, it's well-deserved. But they have 12 people working on it. DICE has 12 people maintaining the game, everything, adding the DLC, working on the DLC, and all DLC is free, but regardless of which, anything that's updated with that game is with 12 people.
Jesus.
And yeah, and it's ridiculous how well and how respond to the community and how well they're able to get these updates out there, considering how understaffed I think they are.
I can't imagine the crunch for them. 12 people producing content, and it has to be top tier. Imagine, like, they must be getting paid a lot.
I hope they are, because they deserve it. Because they honestly, the updates they are willing and are able to do is crazy. So I'm kind of hoping that BioWare will be doing the same, that they'll put a small team on it that are going to be able to work on it, maintain it, update it, and actually make it into a game that is considered good to gamers.
Just give us KOTOR 3 already.
Oh no, they tried to when they acquired the rights to Star Wars when EA did. BioWare wanted to make KOTOR 3, and they said no. Why would you want to make a single player game? Those aren't profitable.
Well, it's funny because BioWare made the first one. You think that EA would look at them and go, "Wow, you guys did such a great job there, and people obviously want this, but we're not going to let you make another one."
It was a different time because it was back when multiplayer games weren't really that popular or big. It was when they were just starting out. So they did try to go into there. There was an interview I saw online where one of the people higher up at BioWare were like, "Yeah, we'd love to make a KOTOR 3. We made a whole thing with EA presentation with them, and they said, no, we want to move the company to a different direction."
The classic excuse.
EA just needs to be like, we're going to let them do whatever they want. They know the community better than we do.
With that, though, it comes down to what's the most profitable for the company. And it's not just EA, but like every single company. You see it with Bethesda, you see it with EA, you see it with Blizzard, etc.
But it flops every time.
But they don't care because it makes them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time.
For a company like Bethesda, they're privately owned and traded. They're not even traded. So profit for certain companies means less than it does for others, with like especially for companies with investors. In the case of EA, like I really do hope because you really can't ever blame the devs unless like they do something terrible, like with what happened to Aliens. Like, ooh. But yeah. So, anyone else got anything to add?
No. Just
I'm pretty
I'm
solid.
waiting for it all to flop. That's all I'm doing.
Yes.
We're entering about. I predict we're gonna have the second great video game crash.
Oh no. Yeah, I wouldn't like that because actually no, it does make sense because there's so many. It's so easy to make games, but it's expensive to make them like polished, unless you go from an indie standpoint. Even then, it's expensive.
Even indie games are putting out better content.
No, that's the whole thing.
things.
You're supposed to be finding the diamonds in the rough, and the rough being the indie games that aren't having the AAA backed money, like back funds. But honestly, like there are games out there that are pretty solid that I think people don't give too much attention to. Like I just actually completed my Days Gone review yesterday. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It was a game I had no expectations with. I picked up, grabbed it, beat it in roughly about 40 hours or so, got the platinum trophy and everything. And honestly, I was very satisfied. I had fun with it, didn't expect much out of it, and I was pretty happy with the result out of it. And they were originally, I think, an indie company, and they got picked up by Sony and then given AAA funding. But at first, they were originally indie. But I feel like there are games out there that are good, but they don't get the attention that is well-deserved.
I think one of the biggest problems that we have right now is that not enough people are calling these companies out on what they're doing. And people just shut up and take it. No one's like going, hey, we don't want this, stop doing it.
Yeah.
To where it's a vocal majority instead of just like, small vocal minority.
No, it happened with
growing
Fallout
every day,
76.
It happened with Fallout 4 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
liked
disappointed.
Fallout 4.
I liked it, but I was disappointed because it was that every quest was the same quest. Same with my issue with Skyrim. It was the same quest, was mostly the same quest every time. And I'm like, where it happened to like the Morrowind days where each quest had its own little twist to it.
I mean, why would you bother putting in the effort to make a RPG when you can have action and gunplay?
It's all going to come crashing. I know it is. And I think like Nintendo and Microsoft both could see that, and that's why they've opened up so many indies things lately.
Yeah, they really did start making a large move towards indie stuff. But I think we've kind of beat the horse real dead this time. So
Yeah.
HB, you wanna?
Now we gotta curb stomp it before we're done.
Each episode, we're just gonna bash on EA more.
Yeah, honestly.
All right, so now we're going to jump into the lore section. You know, the section where us lore tubers are supposed to talk about lore, but we barely talk about lore, so let's talk about dragons.
Yeah, so this is my topic. You know how there's how in Akavir there's like the nations and the different nations are attributed to the races, and then there's like the cat race and their king became a dragon, and like what I want to talk about is, did he actually become a dragon? Like, did he somehow convert his soul into a dragon soul, or did he just transmutate himself into an abomination with wings?
This is one of the reasons why I don't do lore from Akavir. It's because there's so much stuff about that place that we just don't. There's never been a game there. The books are oftentimes contradictory and they say different things and we don't know.
I still have my theory that this entire time Akavirian forces have been building up armies to invade. That's why.
Oh no, we definitely know that because there's been tons of invasions. There's the ice giants from the north in Akavir who tried to invade Morrowind. This Tyaski invaded at some point.
Well, my theory is
Tyaski didn't really invade as much as integrate, though.
Yeah. Well, my theory is that the what are the cat people over there? The tiger people?
The Capotun.
Yes. Well, I think that they are the ones that took the moons, and the moons being in full cycle over there is what lets them turn into dragons.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Actually, there's a very big. You just made a massive connection. I actually know because I was playing ESO and I was playing the mission right before Elsewhere, right? And there's actually a trial in Elsewhere that was leaked called Sunspire, and the achievement and the quest that it's called is like Dragon Break, and the Khajiit are heavily related to dragons. Like the new lore that's coming out, like the amount of lore connects between the moons and the dragons and the Khajiit is crazy, and the fact that the moon is connected to the dragons somehow in the latest DLC for ESO, you might be onto something. Like.
Yeah.
Well, if the sun is what, Magnus, and the moons are Lorcan, I think there's something to do with that, with them having to be the antithesis of each other.
And this specific quest actually involves the moons going away, from what I read of the achievement. So there's a connection between moons disappearing, dragons.
Well,
and
yeah, I mean, it has to be. I mean, whenever I first started getting into the lore community about a year ago, I posted something like that into Zork's lore thing, and I forget who it was told me that this is a speculation, this is for lore only, and I'm like, no, I got something, I know it.
Okay, so hopping back to the dragon god guy, I think that he transmutated himself into a massive dragon, but there is a connection to the moon, and he probably did it in some way, shape, or form via the moons, because like I'm pretty sure physical transmutations typically are only like able to be done by the gods and the Daedra, from what we've seen. Like with Martin becoming Akatosh, and that was done through divine power.
Well, wasn't there an eclipse when that happened too?
With the Capotun becoming a dragon, or with Martin?
I was thinking there was an eclipse that had something to do with that. With Martin.
I don't. Oh yeah, with Martin, I don't know. I haven't really played.
No, there wasn't an eclipse. It was just the regular day.
I couldn't remember.
To that end, I think it's less the Daedra having the power to, transmutate, and more Martin's body being possessed more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that the gem did something more than Martin's body than what we understand, since,
Well, since that's our only available case of someone becoming a dragon, even if it was for a few seconds, I think we can attempt to attribute that to what happened to the Dragon King of the Capotun. And I think there's bound to be some connection with Akatosh, or with whatever dragon god they have, or whatever they call him. And there must
probably Al.duin.
Well, we don't know if it's Al.duin, because Al.duin is very much a Nordic thing. He is definitely...
Al.duin came from Akavir.
Well, okay.
So don't all dragons come from Akavir at some point?
That's the saying, but there's some evidence that certain dragons never really, because dragons don't breed, and by saying that they come from Akavir would be implying that they had a beginning on Akavir and that they were created on
It had a
Akavir.
creation at some
Well, the
point,
thing
so,
is-
I mean,
Maybe they just landed on Akavir because none of the mortal races are native to Tamriel as it is.
Yeah. Wait, watch this Bethesda retcon and everything, because if I remember correctly, I think dragons used to be able to breed, but that was retcon.
Well, no, those are dragonlings. They're in the mountains.
Dragalings are. They look only like dragons in form, but they're a completely different animal.
Oh, I was thinking.
no, the amount of like research and in-depth looks that we all go into is kind of crazy, but I feel like everyone over at Bethesda does nowhere near the amount of like detailed
They don't.
and like analysis of anything, and they're looking at all this shit being like, god damn, these people are fucking crazy.
But yeah, so in general, I think we can all agree that it's a cool concept, but we'll probably never see it come to fruition. But now that we've beat this dead horse, let's move on to the next dead horse.
All right, so this next dead horse that we're going to be beating into the ground is, why doesn't the Dragonborn go blind after reading Elder Scrolls? We know for a fact that the Moth Priest does, but the Dovahkiin can, more or less at his leisure, consume Elder Scrolls like they're candy.
Because he's a dragon soul.
You know, this question came up in my Discord chat like probably months ago, but like it's still something that like it was either my Discord chat or a comment, and it's just like my response was because plot and it's convenient because it would suck to be playing as a blind protagonist, but at the same time it makes zero sense that someone who's trained to read a scroll can read it and go blind because he rushed into things, but the Dragonborn's just like yeet. Oh man, that was cool. We're good still. It's all right.
Well, who was the one that banished Al.duin to the future? I can't remember who that was.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know.
It was Grandpa Max. That's all I remember.
But he didn't go blind to reading it either.
Well, we using
But
it,
he didn't.
using
He
it
didn't
one
really
time.
read it. He kind of held it in reverse and kind of cast it at Al.duin rather than read it.
Yeah, didn't he shout at it?
Well, he probably had like an incantation or a spell ready to use it, but he never looked. There's okay. So the way I see it is that the reason he never went blind from reading it is because he probably only read it once or twice, and it's because for Moth Priest to go blind, it takes a lifetime of reading the scrolls. But that being said, in Skyrim, the Dragonborn reads the scrolls like more times in a year than anyone at like an actual Moth Priest conclave ever would.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he doesn't go blind probably does have to do with him being immortal, because having an immortal soul of a dragon. So like if we look at Al.duin, when he got thrown into the wastes of time and was crippled, that was done by the power of the Elder Scroll, and he looked at it, and the fact that he wasn't destroyed and went blind because of it probably has to do with him being a dragon.
It seems that the Elder Scrolls have some kind of unique effect on dragons and dragons. Like they interact differently together compared to mortal.
I guess it could also be what kind of theory you go by, if it's just dragon souls or if because the Dovahkiin and Al.duin are supposed to have special souls in particular.
I think that there definitely is a connection between dragons and Elder Scrolls, and there was a theory that I've covered a bit on our channel, in that the Dragonborn himself is like the reincarnation of Lorcan or Shor, and it's a rabbit hole, but it would explain a lot to do with the scrolls, because, okay, I'll be honest, the scrolls are the most obscure piece of lore to ever exist. There's no concrete powers that they hold, there's no established.
The scrolls are the MacGuffin.
Yeah, they're honestly the MacGuffin. There's nothing that they can't do or won't do given the situation. So
I never saw one until Oblivion. Am I right about that?
I think so, yeah.
Correct. The name Elder Scrolls was only selected because they thought it sounded cool.
Yeah, because they had to cover up Arena.
They wanted to turn Arena into an RPG. But, you know, it worked out. It was for the better, so I won't down them on that.
Yeah, and I think that because they're a MacGuffin, the way they interact with things will always be context-based. And we probably shouldn't dig too deeply into how they work, but I think we've kind of come to the conclusion that it's because of the Dragon Soul.
So the last thing we're going to be ranting about, probably for way too long, is what is magic? And where does it come from, and how was it created? My personal theory is magic is just stuff.
It's solar power.
Actually,
you
no,
guys-
you're not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not. Scribe is somehow not wrong.
Didn't you
I
guys
am
have a disagreement with this with Zork too? Is this another topic you're taking on when he's not here?
No,
I think I've argued with him about this.
Scribe is
Like,
actually, I think he's 100% right, because from what I read a while back, that the magic in the Elder Scrolls universe is Aetherius, or the void, leaking into Mundus, and the sun is a giant hole through which it leaks in.
Bethesda's
That's way more
subliminally trying
sexual
to.
than it wants to be.
Bethesda's trying to subliminally to get us to buy solar panels.
So
I've mentioned this topic before in, I think, 2 of my videos, and I was planning on doing a whole video about it, but I'm still not sure if I should, because there's just not enough information.
So, anyone else have anything else to add on what the hell they think magic is?
I think magic might be similar to our world, how fundamentally things are made up of atoms and stuff. I think in the Elder Scrolls universe, fundamentally everything might be made up of magic. And mortals just kind of somehow tap into that somehow. And you don't only do it with the magic that we see, like firebolts and stuff. You can do it also with sword singing, that kind of stuff.
See, actually,
I just have a tiny issue with that. Is you're giving Bethesda way too much credit, and they don't deserve it.
See, okay, in a more realistic standpoint, based on my own personal beliefs on this, I think that since the player themselves, or even the NPCs, are tapping into their potential to become the Amaranth, or the next, like, Vivid Dreamer by using magic, because in a more higher level way of talking about it, by using magic, you're essentially breaking the laws of the Godhead. And what you're doing is you're kind of saying, hey, I'm going to be the dreamer for just a split second so that I can conjure this fire out of nowhere. And to do that is essentially what Lorcan wanted when he created, well, not Lorcan, what Anu and Lorcan, basically all the original spirits wanted, except maybe Sithis, when they made the plane of existence, which was to see if they could find another Amaranth, see if they could continue the dream even further, because by giving everyone the ability to become a godhead, or become the Vivid Dreamer, that's the whole point of making sure that things continue. Now, that is a very Coda-esque perspective, and yeah. I'll have to say it isn't very much canon, but there is hints in the game based off of remaining lore from things like Morrowind and maybe a bit of Oblivion, where MK was still on, where it hints towards the purpose of the Elder Scrolls universe being to create another godhead, well, Amaranth, which is basically achieving Chim and then going beyond. Okay, so that being said, I think we've exhausted our lore set. Yeah, we've beat this horse so much that I don't even think it's dead anymore. It probably just came back to life.
We should rename the podcast Dead Horse Beating One.
Yes, Dead Horse Cast.
Well, okay, Scribe, move us on to the next section.
Okay, next section here is whatever we want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is YouTube algorithm conspiracies. I think that I think they do alter it. Like, if you're a woman, you get boosted more. If you're if you have a face in your, like, we do know that if you have a face in your what's that image called? The little small one.
Thumbnail.
In the thumbnail, it's gonna get boosted more. Stuff like that. All caps, it gets boosted more.
On that, I think you're onto something where okay, so there's been a very large diversity. I don't want to get too political, but there's been a very large diversity movement in our nation recently, and I think YouTube's kind of latched
I'm
onto
gonna get
that.
political.
They've kind
I
of
think you're underestimating how much I think of a movement there has been.
because if you look at it, they promote minorities more than they promote a straight white male.
I think there's more to it than that. I think just the fact that there's not that many women YouTubers as compared to men, it might just be like a more gravitational thing where it's just like that, and like the content that we're doing especially, it's mostly guys in their mid-teens to early 20s, and they see a woman and they're gonna gravitate.
Yeah. You guys watch MXR plays?
Yeah, his girlfriend's the reason he does well.
Oh, I know.
MXR Plays is his girlfriend's channel, you idiot.
I know. That's the best part.
They changed it from Potastic Panda to MXR Plays because his name actually carries more weight than hers.
Yeah. But because she's in it, it gets more watches than his mod's channel.
Which is a very bad thing in my opinion.
His mod's channel doesn't get watches because YouTube demonetizes or takes down every other video.
I really do think that, like, people who put more effort in their content deserve more watches. Like, MXR Plays, sure, it's fun to watch, but it's lowbrow content with not a lot of editing put in comparison to his main channel. And that kills me. Like, the reason I'm such an asshat to certain people is because I think that their content isn't worth the same amount as someone who spends hours upon hours working on it. Like, I'll take a look at Koo stuff. Koo is specific because the amount of time he puts into his content is on par with mine. And
we get a video once every 3 months from Koo.
Yeah, exactly. I think he deserves
a lot of work.
But yeah, I think people who put in more effort deserve more views. But that being said, we've kind of covered this topic. So we'll move on to my topic next, now that we've beat that horse. Early monetization with small YouTube channels. Now, this has been something that's bugged me for a while. Why do small YouTube channels insist on monetization? Not like ad monetization, like, oh, guys, fund me on Patreon. Guys, go to my Koocai page and donate to me, or just donate to me on YouTube. Please, I need money. Like, this obviously isn't your full-time job. Why are you asking people for money? You can't give them anything in return.
Would you like my straight answer, or would you like the joke answer?
Both.
All right, joke answer. They have small peepees, and the straightforward answer is a lot of these people are trying to make YouTube their legitimate career, and they think the only way to do that is if they're spending all of their time doing it. And they personally feel, because I know when I started off in, I want to say 2010, that's how I was feeling. It's like, if I only do YouTube, I should get paid for all this work that I'm putting in. And granted, I don't feel like that anymore because it's YouTube. It's not going to go anywhere. Those are the odds of it.
Yeah, yours isn't going to go anywhere. Ha.
Well, no, even with talks, right? Even if I put all of my effort into it, it's most likely not going to get to a point where I have 1 trillion subscribers and I'm making bank. At best, I'm going to have some money on the side that I can waste on maybe a couple minis here or there, or a t-shirt.
Well, that's what Zork's channel, Zork does with his channel. He makes like virtually nothing off of the YouTube money.
Well, that being said, I want to comment. I'll use an example of someone. They probably won't listen to this deep into the podcast, so we're fine using them. Multiple people actually I can use. So you know who Bones is from the Bonecast, right?
Yeah.
So basically, he was on one of our never released podcasts, and well, actually, he might have not been. I don't remember. But anyways, he was planned for one of our never released podcasts, and basically, he's started monetization right off the bat. And I don't think you should ever do that. Like, why would you beg people for money when you make content that's probably that actually I know for a fact that he makes it in the Microsoft editor or whatever it's called, Movie Maker. He makes it in Movie Maker, and it's basically
that's awesome.
It's like, come on, man. I get that you don't know how to edit, but why would you ask for money for something that you really don't put much effort into in comparison to people who at least want to put effort in? Like, I understand it, but it's not like art, because someone tried to tell me that asking for money on YouTube is like paying for art off some commission site. It's not, because do you ever actually get to own it? Do you ever hang it up in your house? No, it's something online.
On that note, I actually have a question for you guys. In all honesty, do you guys do YouTube, or did you start? Because you might be jaded at this point, but I don't know. But when you started YouTube, did you do it as a passion project, or did you do it to make money?
I haven't even started yet.
Yeah. Well, when I started, it was definitely something like, right, I love gaming in general, and it's like I have fun doing it by myself. And if there's the chance that I can make someone else have a little bit of fun, or like help someone make a decision on whether or not to buy a game, or make them laugh at the same time, it's like that's the kind of reasoning I'm in the YouTube game. It's like I'm in more for it just to like have fun. Like I don't know if I'll do it forever, but at some point, like, I've gotten to meet wonderful people through it. I've gotten to meet all of you guys. I got to meet Zorg, a bunch of people in my community chat on Discord, and it's been fantastic because of it. And it's been a blessing that I've gotten to meet all you guys because of it. And that's really what's worth.
Oh, thank you, big channel.
I gotta say the same.
For me, it's a bit of that. It's actually a lot of that. But I like to think of myself as like an amateur movie maker. Like HB here can attest to that. I fucking like, I'll look at I'll be like driving down a road and I'll be like, damn, that's aesthetic as fuck. Let's pull over.
He wanted me to pull over at like 3 a.m. so he could film some fog on a lake.
Because I really like, I'm into cinematography like crazy. But for me, it was a lot about like trying to express myself creatively, which I feel like I've done to an extent. And then after that, like, it just kind of became, like, natural to start making videos constantly. Like, I missed 1 week of videos, which was finals week, which was, like, a few days ago. And it's, like, killing me. I hate it at this point. It's, like, you get so used to doing it normally and whatever your schedule is. For me, it's weekly, and I'm going to eventually make it, like, twice a week. Like, you get so used to it that it's just second nature, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the dopamine hits I get from just like expressing my content keep me coming back.
I don't know. I can't. It fucks me up, man.
People are ridiculous.
Well, speaking of being ridiculous, how about we move on to the next one? I don't know how good of a segue that was, but cool. You want to say your topic?
Yeah. So I've been wondering, E3's coming up in about 3 weeks from now, guys. And we know for a fact Bethesda told us Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield are not going to be at E3. So we can talk about that. And
that's what they say, but they're going to do it.
They're just going to release Skyrim again. There it is, guys.
Elder Scrolls 5.
Are we ever gonna listen to what Bethesda says? Because everything they say, it's not really what's really going on.
And in addition to that, do you guys think will Cyberpunk 2077 be released this?
I expect CD Projekt Red to, in some way, shape, or form, release a gameplay demo, or like at least some slice of gameplay, because they already released a vertical slice. But like, I think that after this vertical slice, we're gonna at least see something, and I expect the game to either be released this year or next year.
I think they're gonna wait till next gen, because that's a heck of a beautiful game.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's probably gonna be like a cross-gen game, in my opinion, where like it's really meant to be played on the modern consoles, but they'll dumb it down for like Xbox One and PS4.
See, the thing is, I do hope that Cyberpunk 77 is released. I think it'd be a nice to show off what this generation is capable of, and that's something we can kind of leave this kind of note on.
You know, they did release the specs of the machine that they showed the gameplay demo on at E3, and they were using a 1080 Ti. So, in my opinion, I think they're going to release on this generation of consoles. I think it'll come out this year.
Yeah, but 1080.
Yeah, that looks damn good for a 1080
Ti.
Yeah, Ti. Well, in terms of computing power, that's like a lot for a console. I expect the next gen consoles to be that good. Like, current consoles are around a RX 570 or a 560 in terms of performance, which isn't bad. It's actually pretty good. It's like you can hit 60 on certain titles, mostly 30, 1080p. So I think, is that all you wanted to talk about, Koo, or?
Yeah, that's about it. Also, Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. they're not showing up at the C3.
Yeah,
Why do you guys think that?
Well, yeah, because we're just gonna buy Skyrim again, dude.
I fully expect that we will get, because once we get, I think you mentioned it before, Koo, or it might have been someone else, but once we get Starfield's engine and all its tech done, we'll probably be like spearheading Elder Scrolls 6 very quickly, because like
I hope so, because I really hope they use a newer engine. It's
just going to be a better upgraded net immerse engine. Well, no, because the same engine
not going to be upgraded. The same a few more lines of code.
The same engine that Red Dead Redemption 2 runs on is an engine from like 1998. Unreal Engine is based off the same code of an engine from like 1994.
Yeah, but they switched programming languages to make Unreal 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see, but the problem is Bethesda has been using the creation engine and its predecessors on more or less the same language and the same broken-ass, faulty fucking...
Papyrus was introduced with Skyrim, and Papyrus is the real letdown here. Their engine would be much better without Papyrus.
It's not just that the engine is bad. The way that the people of Bethesda script things is terrible. If you go into the creation kit, for instance, like for Fallout 4, it's the most recent thing that I've been modding. The biggest issue with it is, like, let's say you open up the settlement menu, why it literally takes about 10 years for you to open the thing up, or why when you're going through load doors, unlike in Special Edition where it's almost instantaneous, it takes so long because the script that they have in place is a bad script, is poorly written. So it can't just go from point A to point B. It has to go in the stupid circular logic for a half hour before it can find its way out.
Well, the way it's okay, so it's probably not poorly coded. It's the way the language is designed to access files, and the Papyrus coding language. When it accesses your INIs, to get each setting, it individually has to go through and say, okay, I want to find out how far to load textures while this person is standing in this exact location. I'm going to, for each and every single line of code in the INI file, settings, I'm opening it up, looking for one setting, closing it, opening it up, looking for the next setting, closing it, and it has to do all of that in like a split second.
You say that, but like modders have literally fixed these issues with
because
it's because fixing the code.
Yeah, because they found workarounds with the engine, which obviously you don't want to do. In professional coding, you never want to find workarounds that other people can't read, because those workarounds are impossible to read for the actual people who code them. Now, with all that being said, we should probably move on to the next topic, which is Big E's. Big E, take it away.
Yeah, so Elder Scrolls Blades, like I looked at it on my phone like a couple days ago, and I was like, I haven't touched this in a month. Like, so I want to know you guys' opinions, thoughts, like time to resonate with everybody and everyone's had a chance to play it, or at least the opportunity to. I don't know if anyone here has not played it, but still, not that good.
Oh yeah, well I haven't played it, but I definitely have kept up a lot on the news of the game, and I don't think it's changed at all from what I've heard about news. Like, I think for everything I've heard, it's exactly the same as it was from launch.
It also runs on creation.
Does it really?
Yes, it does.
Oh, that actually no.
They didn't say that. They didn't say that, but it's runs on creation. You can tell by how you play.
Well, no, that's actually really impressive. That shows like
you say that, but they already made the creation engine into a multiplayer engine with fucking Fallout 76.
Okay. With Net Immerse, which became Gamebryo, which became the creation engine. Net Immerse was an MMO engine.
He is correct there.
So
I can confirm this.
There is very, very small potential that it's very versatile, is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's the fact that they were able to port it down was really impressive.
I mean, well, my issue with it is if they're going to continue to use the Gamebryo, or I call it Gamebryo, the creation engine for mobile games, I'm okay with that. But I have a problem with them continuing to use it on the next gen console. I mean, it's an old engine.
Oh, they're definitely going to rebrand it.
They have access to other engines because they own What's that? id Software. They own id.
Guarantee they're gonna rebrand it, and everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, it's a new engine," and no one's gonna ever talk about it again.
The modders are gonna look. Wait a minute, this is the same thing.
I think the biggest issue I have with people like defending Bethesda continually using the same engine is, oh, it's for modder accessibility, which is bullshit because modders would be just as capable to pick up a different engine for modding as they would with creation. And from the way Bethesda's been going recently, I don't think they want modding unless you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So now that we really gotta stop talking about creation engine. Back to Blades.
Overall,
Yes, Blades.
I don't know. It's nothing special. There is nothing special about that game. Like, it's very repetitive. I hate how it's level locking you into campaigns, so it's basically forcing you to grind out the game or buy shit. And it's like, I don't know. It makes me mad because this is like Fallout Shelter a lot, and Fallout Shelter I actually thought was a lot of fun. It was a pretty good mobile game, but then like, I don't know, there are a lot of signs just like pointing to Bethesda trying to turn into a company that it's not, and they really, really want to be into that company. They're like, well, here's ESO, like everyone wanted Skyrim multiplayer, well, here's that. And then they're like, well, now we got Fallout 76, the game nobody asked for, and now they get this. And it's like, well, I mean, I don't know.
Blades is. I honestly wasn't even looking forward to it. I didn't have hopes for it, and I'm never gonna play it. Chances are.
I think if it comes down to playing it, I might play it once just to see what it's like. But from what I've heard about it, it's Skyrim. If Skyrim got shot in the head and was told to perform a task.
I mean, it has potential. The game has the potential to be a good mobile dungeon crawler.
The game right now, it has potential, you're right about that. However, with the current situation of how the loot boxes inside of it work and all those chests and all the keys that you have to unlock them with, it's not gonna... That's just... That deserves to be boycotted. I don't like Blades right now as it is.
Yeah. It's not sustainable.
This kind of loops back to what I said earlier about AAA games, gaming studios. They care about their bottom line, and they could give less of a shit about you if they can make a quick buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, honestly. And some people don't understand that. They're going to continue supporting bad practices. You don't have to be vocal about it. Just vote with your wallet.
It's like all the people that were defending Anthem. I'm like, you guys are insane. You're just...
Well, people voted with their wallet, and now the game's dead.
Oh, see, I had a buddy who actually did really like Anthem, and he said it's a good game. I think it's getting a lot more hate than it isn't deserved.
It probably was.
Oh yeah.
Overall, it's a fun game to play, and I was like, I think many people's issue with that game is that it's nothing new. It's the same, like loot and shoot kind of game that we've all had. Everyone has one already. No, if you don't play Anthem, you probably play The Division, or you play Borderlands or Destiny. Games that are already
But the thing, like with other games, like some of the ones that you just said, they have more to them than Anthem offered. Like, for instance, Borderlands has a lot to it than just the loot and
They typically have a lot more polish, too.
But that's what I mean. Like, people already have those established. Like, when you mention them, you guys already have an established opinion and a feeling towards it. So you prefer those games. Why the hell do you need another one?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Now that we've finished up this little section, we can move on to the best section, the one that everyone loves and that everyone listens until the lightning round.
If you're still here listening, I'm proud of you. Like,
So, question number 1 on the lightning round. What do you think happened to Jigalag after the events of the Grey March?
he went off to an island where he now sits and yells obscenities at the sky.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, no, perfect. Yeah, everyone agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 2.
Unmarked stock.
How many Khajiit does it take not to be enslaved by another race? That's a trick question. It doesn't take any Khajiit because they were already enslaved.
Oh, bitch! I'm a Khajiit fan. Suck my. Get out of here,
guys!
Get your furry cosplay out of here.
Not furry cosplay, but I'll fuck you up, man.
I'm dropping the gloves. Let's go.
The mitts. Let's go.
Oh, you guys want to go? Well, okay. Last question. You guys got to rap. Who here wants to volunteer to rap?
Give me a beat.
Dude, I'm a metalhead. I'm not rapping.
Argonians.
Your brother.
Their property. Hippity. Hippity hoppity.
DJ Khaled!
Oh my god.
Ooh, okay, so yeah, thanks for coming to the episode number 5 of the LODcast. So thanks guys for watching. We'll have everyone's channels in the link, and without further ado, see ya.
He's lying. He never puts my channel in the link.
Bye!
Letters.
Oh, you didn't. Bye.
Slen Tid Vor Folusai Dovakin Zuul Korav Nid Nol Dov Duhai.
Try me, and you'll regret it.
You do not even know our tongue, do you? Do you?
I fought wars